introduced earlier on. Right. Good evening, everybody. Councillor Warwick will be in a couple of moments. I do, however, obviously it's entirely my fault we're a little bit late starting to start. So welcome, everybody. Thank you all very much for coming. And I'm now asking for apologies which have been received.
Chair, Councillors Branston, Bennett, Hannaford, Lights and Wardle.
Thank you very much. As I say, Councillor Warwick will be with us in just a few moments. Right. Any declarations of interest relating to the items in front of us this evening? I don't see. Yes.
Is it appropriate that Councillor Bialet's here, given the proximity he lives to within one of the agenda items?
Okay, so I'll remind you also, Councillor Ketchen, that I'm in the same ward as well, and we'll be addressing that when we actually get to the item on the agenda. The members who are present as members of the public, and as members of the public are entitled to be here, and will not be able to comment, intervene, or do anything else in relation to the matters, as I have not been advised that there are any speakers for us this evening. Okay, Councillor.
Regarding the pinhole application, I'm about 100 yards from the actual park. Is that relevant at all?
I'm looking for guidance. I've never heard of that being an issue at all. That's. I mean, we are all Exeter residents, and so we are all close in some way, or we exercise close by, or we walk past, or whatever. So, we are looking for pecuniary interests. If you actually have an interest in a company that is trying to work with the project, or whether you are on a board or something like that, these are the ones that we're looking for, isn't it? Yes.
I'm not getting involved. I'm just watching.
There's another clause within it, whether your well-being will be affected.
Right.
That's very broad and not defined. And also, it's not whether your well-being will be affected, whether a reasonable person would believe your well-being would be affected.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. But again, as long as we're nice and open and frank about everything that's going on, I hope that would indeed satisfy the reasonable person. Okay, we've gone to declarations of interest on item 3. It's the Local Government Access to Information Act, exclusion of the press and public. I see absolutely no reason for the press or public to be excluded from any of the items on discussion. Is my committee in agreement? Yes, right. Okay, so let us move on to the item number 4, which is the pinhole playing fields. Right. Who's speaking tonight? Is that you?
Yes, it's me, Chair. Thank you. So, members, the first thing for you to note in respect to this application is that it's previously been granted consent in 2020, February 2020, for three years to start. It didn't start in time, so it expired. So it did have planning permission before. It's an application for a community hub building to include a library, sports changing rooms, cafe, multi-purpose function rooms, and office space. I'll just quickly run through the slide. So it's adjoining the railway line near to Pinhole Station. There you can see it in the context of the site, in the context of where the playing field is. And that's the entrance to the site from the highway. And that's the building that's being replaced. And that's on the right-hand side, you can see the building that's being replaced. And it's a larger building that's being proposed, and there's a children's play area there, which will be moved a little bit in the context of the build work. So you can see it from looking from the opposite direction. So it says resubmission of an approved application. I put this slide together. Actually, this was a case officer's done this, so it's a summary. It comes again at the end. So here's the site layout, which is adjoining existing car park. Floor plans which show cafe, a multi-use area, kitchen, servery, foyer, and a library, some changing rooms, and there's a second floor, an upper floor with office space and a multi-use area in it. These are the elevations. There are some artist's impressions later in the presentation. Here we go. So you can see how it's designed, and not so easy to see, but in the context of the site. The principle of a community building on the site is acceptable. The design, scale and massing are acceptable. The key issues that we considered in terms of policy were the impact on highway network and sustainable access to the site, and also whether it impacts on the provision of playing fields. Sport England haven't objected, the Highway Authority haven't objected. There is one objection from a member of the public on highway grounds, but we've had clear advice from the Highway Authority that it's acceptable. It seems it's an excellent application, providing an enhanced facility, and there's no reason to do anything other than recommend approval for it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Right, as there are no speakers under either 44 or 19A, we're moving into the debate part. Can I ask if any members wish to make comments? Councillor Kedge.
Sort of issue I'd like to raise is the hours of opening. They're in the planning document, but I imagine it's a licensing issue. I'm not quite sure, but it's proposed it can be open from 7 in the morning until 11:30 at night. What is the rationale for that? Do we know?
From my reading, I saw that there'd be no music after 8 o'clock at night. So, unless anybody else is aware of a license application.
I'm not aware of that, but that's condition 8. And can I just ask about that? Sort of following on, really, is that shall not be played outside the hours of 08 to 20 companies. Is that inside or outside the building? Does that make the difference? Or should it be clear that there should be no amplified music outside the building and inside the building, not after 8 o'clock?
I think that's a reasonable point, and we can modify the condition to reflect that.
I mean, I'm assuming that that's what it's meant.
Yeah. To answer the earlier question, I don't know for certain, but I suspect that this was an indication of the hours that the applicant would like it to be open, indicated when it be likely to be open, or to give some flexibility to allow it to be open at those times. And in the absence of any objection to that from environmental health, and with the condition that talks about noise protection, essentially, there's no reason to object to those hours.
It just seems, sorry, I wanted to comment back. It seems very curious for a library, football pitch, or cafe to be open at that time of night. And I just felt that, we need to be clear on that.
Can I ask any officers, is this actually a planning issue? Can you give us guidance as to whether or not this is more a licensing matter or an environmental health matter?
I mean, it could be a planning issue in terms of noise nuisance, for example, or activity. But there are multi-use spaces in this building, so one imagines it might be hired out for events that could go on into the evening. And that doesn't seem unreasonable. Environmental health are aware of that and wouldn't have a problem with it, subject to the condition about noise.
There is a condition about noise, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but there is a condition about amplified music. I mean, that's not necessarily going to cover noise. It is amplified music. But,
I think if there was any other concern about noise, the environmental health would have flagged it up, given that they've given us detailed advice on that issue. It is next to a railway line in a busy area. I don't think it's something that's, and we haven't had objections from local residents on noise nuisance.
As a local resident, the noise from the railway really isn't that bad, and obviously it's not that frequent. But when they do hold events in those fields, it is really noisy actually, for the residents, and they do complain. But obviously, if there is a time limit and the music won't be played outside, that would make a big difference if it was only inside.
Councillors, before you, can I ask, are you asking for a condition to be imposed, or to making a suggestion for a wording, or do you want to think about that and maybe come back with a suggestion for a wording? Councillor Warwick?
Yeah, I know this area very well. I'm not obviously resident there. I'm from Alphington, but what I would say is that I do know that the people, the local people up there, are really supportive of this and really want this thing to get off the ground. They used to have a similar thing over the road where the library is now. I don't know if it's still open or not in Pinhoe, and they've got no facility like similar to this one. And I do know that this thing is very much supported within the Pinhoe community.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to echo Councillor Warwick's comments there. All of the Pinhoe community are very positive about this coming forward. It will be a really important space for the local community, and it's been all positive comments so far. I just wanted to follow up on a query around noise. My assumption is that they will only be hiring out these multi-use spaces that are inside, so therefore there wouldn't be any noise from any spaces outside of the building. Is that correct?
If I go back to the planning permission, if granted today, will apply to that red-lined area. So, looking at the condition about amplified music, shall not be played outside the hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Then that would be applied to the red-lined area. So it would include anywhere inside or outside within the red-lined area. And outside of that, it's not the control of this consent.
Councillor Mitch, come up.
Thank you, Chair. I think fully in support of this application as I was previously. This is a community-led event. The reason we are here is that the funding, yes, is in place for them to have carried out the initial application because funding simply is not in place and it's a large-scale development they're talking about. I think many of the issues that have been discussed here are matters that will come up for licensing at a later date. And I think these are just setting parameters at this stage. And that once they've got the building up and going, we hope within the 3 years, I trust our colleagues on licensing will work with the community to suit the needs of the community, both the residents and the users of the facility.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Can I ask if anybody else wants to make a contribution? Councillor Jobson.
Just one, and that is the condition that no part of development should be wanted to use until details are submitted of the cycle park conditions. I haven't seen it in there. It could well be my fault just to how many cycle spaces that there are in the or is that something that's going to come up later?
It will come up later because they need to approve that condition.
Yeah.
But we are satisfied that there's sufficient space within the site to accommodate however many are needed.
Councillor Ketchum.
The previous permissions lapsed. I think this project started in 2016. Can I confirm that funding has been secured to proceed with the build and what portion of this is from ECC?
Sorry, Councillor, that's not relevant to planning on this application. Okay, anybody else any comments on this application? Councillor Sharon.
Just with regard to the noise, just with regard to restrictions or conditions for the noise, would that be something that could be imposed then if it wasn't, say, after 8 o'clock, if it was outside? Or is it all just going to be inside, any music and...
I'm interpreting what we were told by the officers in that sits the red line. So amplified music cannot happen within that red line after 8 o'clock at night, and that would definitely include inside the building. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Chair. Just to come back on Councillor Jobson's point, it says page 14 about the provision under transport and highways matters, the provision of additional 18 secure cycle parking spaces as well as cycle lockers. I'm heartened by that condition. I trust that will be in there as well, and also by 13, which seems to, which is about traffic management and seeing reliance on private cars, but above everything else, it looks an application that is going to be a great community asset, something which promotes certainly community activities and above all else local sport. Yeah, it seems a very worthwhile application to me.
Thank you, Councillor. Any more comments from the members, please? I've now learned that what you do is you grab hold of the microphone and pull it towards you, which apparently stops the things there. But yes, can I? We must get this sorted out, please. Somebody make a note to Strata. Members, I would like to propose that we move to a vote on this. So we are looking to get the exact thing. We are looking to grant permission subject to the conditions listed under section 18. Can I ask for a show of hands, please? Are those in favour? Oh, sorry, I'm doing it. Thank you. Yeah. You're seconding. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Okay, in that case, we now move to a vote. Can those in favour please indicate?
Chair, clearly unanimous.
Unanimously passed. Thank you very much, members. Right, we can now move on to item 5. This is obviously a planning application which is in a ward in which I am now elected. I was not elected at the time when all of the comments were made, and I have made a public comment indicating my opinion on the application. However, that is not the matter that is up for discussion today. What we are doing is considering what our position will be at effectively the appeal, because this has gone as being non-determined, yes, so I get the terminology correct. So you have additional information on the sheet there, which says that since the publication of the report, an application for non-determination has been submitted. We now have to agree that the formal position, which is written on this this additional sheet, which starts the proposal and finishes highway safety, is our position. Okay, because this is the one where the way we've got to be have our opinion defended. So can I ask if anybody has any alterations to the wording or the phrasing, because that has been formulated based on the comments that you as a committee made. I believe there's only 4 of the people who are actually on that committee here present, but this has been a long and very detailed discussion which has got us to this situation. So again, I'm just asking if there's Councillor Jobson.
I just wonder whether, for clarity, it would be better to divide little a into fail to provide pedestrians with safe access to and from the site, and then little b, fail to provide cyclists with, because there was a lot of discussion at the planning meeting about steps that would be needed. Well, they'd be needed by pedestrians maybe, but cyclists would be slightly different conditions. I just wonder whether for clarity it should be separate as a trivial point, maybe, it just seems to me that it makes it more clear.
Can I have advice, please?
There's no issues with
So
changing that.
we are changing the wording so that there will be, it would A, fail to provide pedestrians with safe access to and from the site. Then there'll be a new provision B, which is fail to provide cyclists with safe access to and from the site. And then there will be condition little c, which will be the existing condition B. Okay. Thank you very much.
Whoever's presenting it on PLN has a very nice, sort of easy route to the instruction.
Okay, right. So can I ask if there's any more comments on that? And if not, then I am proposing that we take note of this, and it goes back to you, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. No, we don't take a vote on this. We've made our comments. We've made our alteration, and the officer has our recommendation to take forward. So that concludes the planning application 220756 FUL at Newbury Carbreakers. We're now moving on to the list of decisions made and withdrawn applications. Now, this was circulated to you in advance, and the officers have indicated that there have been no comments received, and that is the time for you to make the comments rather than now. So I am now asking you to note these decisions, and for them to pass into record. Again, I saying there's no need for a vote on this, but I'm simply asking you to note it and it is to go into record.
Just one very short thing.
Please, Councillor.
Tidiness, I think. When matters come together in briefly, they're always highlighted by the board in which they are part of. So members can readily see whether they need to attend or look into a national delegate briefing. These do not carry the ward identification. They started off. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. Yes, I'm sorry. They're ahead of that. I think this is that's what things group together at various times.
We're now moving on to item 7, which is the appeals report. That's in the same sheet. That's pages 73 to 74 at the end there.
So nothing further to add, Chair, from the report, unless there's questions.
Members, do you have any questions for the officer about the appeals reports? I don't see any questions, so in that case I ask you to members to note this report and it will go into the record. Okay, we're now moving on to the final item on our agenda this evening, which is the date of the next meeting. We have a meeting just a week away on Monday the 19th of June. We'll be here at 5:30. You already have the agenda and the papers relating to that, and I look forward to meeting you all again in a week's time. Thank you all very much indeed for your attendance this evening and your attention. Thank you.